Hey, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Steve. Welcome back to the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, the finest phototainment in the world. We are an irreverent look at photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover. Dustin, my man, check your iMessage, bro, because I just sent you something that I saw today online, and it was like bringing our two nerd worlds together. And I just wanted to bring that to you right now. So can you describe to the listeners what I just sent to you?
It appears to be a meme.
It's a meme.
It's a silhouette of a gravestone, ?
Is it a silhouette of a gravestone or is it a silhouette of Diglett?
Oh, I get the joke now. It'd be better if if it was like a GIF where you only see like each frame of the meme at a time.
So in Pokemon, there's like a thing where they show like the silhouette of something, and then you're supposed to guess what it is during the commercial break. And when it comes back, you guess, and it shows like a silhouette of a Diglett, and then Anakin Skywalker's on the other side. So that's my nerddom. Dustin's is Pokemon, and Anakin's like it's Diglett, and then it pops up, and it's a tombstone that says Padme on it. And then on the other side, it's the Darth Vader saying no.
But it's more like no. More like that, I think is the reference.
This brings me so much joy.
And then what would be better if there was like a part 2 to this meme where it's like Ash throwing a Pokeball at the gravestone. That.
You just gotta make
Pikachu
that.
like pissing on the gravestone.
Like wow!
That. Wow. Okay.
Like the Calvin pissing on the Chevy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm glad that we opened up our audio only podcast with a visual, with discussing a visual joke. Dustin, this week we got some follow up. It's been a long time since we had follow up. Dustin,
what are we following up, Steven?
Someone slid into my DMs and they asked to remain anonymous. Yes. And this person just said to me, "Hey Steve, just wanted to let you know that me and a few friends have been on that Sony Pony train for a while now. We're what other Sony Bronies call beepers. We're kind of like cloppers. I'll leave it at that. Camera, eggplant, splooge. Is that what the water droplets are? Splooge?
I think we just call them water droplets.
Okay. Camera emoji, eggplant emoji, water droplet emoji.
Okay. Or tears. It could be tears.
It's not tears. There's definitely a crying emoji. That's what the person would have used if they meant tears.
Okay. All right.
We know what this is. Oh, man. Dustin, I made the mistake of looking up what cloppers are. Do you want to know what cloppers are?
I don't know if I do. Do I?
I don't think you do. So I was confused by this. I assumed it was sexual, and I was not mistaken. So cloppers...
I was not mistaken.
Cloppers are people who are sexually attracted to the characters in the show My Little Pony and create or just enjoy sexually explicit fan art.
That's a real thing?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, that is a real thing. So now, thanks to this DM.
But wait, what are beepers?
I'm assuming it's because he.
So is that a thing where people are sexually attracted to cameras?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Are they trying to create a sub-genre like cloppers called beepers?
I have no idea. I would like to assume this was all just a joke. That is what I would like to assume.
I don't know, man. We like to stay high on our Sony ponies and not get down to the beepers level.
Beepers?
Here in the pony camp.
Oh, gosh. So freaking disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what bronies were from, what's it called? Bob's Burgers? They do like a whole episode about that. It was not attuned to the fact that there was more deviant things going on there. Dustin, we got some more legitimate follow-up than that, though. You did a bridal show last week, Dustin. You want to talk to us about that bridal show, bro?
We did. We did a bridal show, a bridal extravaganza. In fact, it was interesting. It was stressful. It was tiring. It was exhausting, and I wasn't even the one running the booth. Yeah, my biggest takeaway from the bridal show were a few things. So let me first start with a quick story that I just find very entertaining, very humorous, that probably none of you, including Steven, will find funny, but I do. So we show up to the bridal show to set up the day before the show. I'm expecting to spend about an hour and a half because we built these walls. We were going to make this whole scene, and we show up to set up. And I'm also going to be debuting our newest photo booth from the photo booth supply company. And so we had set up our bridal show booth to highlight that element. And we get there to the show. We have a great booth placement. We're right by the doors as the brides will come in. And I notice across from us is a photo booth company. And I've happened to work with this photo booth company a few times. And I realized that the owner of this company is a bit of a short-tempered individual. And I realize if he sees that we have a photo booth across from his booth, which is selling photo booths.
Booth wars.
Booth wars would, spark. Mm-hmm. And so I immediately go to the person in charge of setup, and I say to them, guys, we're going to be debuting our photo booth at this show. It's the whole reason we signed up to do this bridal show. I don't think that they're going to appreciate having someone with a photo booth right across from them. Would you like us to move, or would you like to move them? I'm fine with it. It makes me no difference because their booths are very different than what we're going to be offering. But I just know them, and they're going to be furious.
So you made an assumption.
They turn to me and they say, "No, I think we're going to be we'll be okay. Don't worry about it." And I say, "No, really, guys. I've worked with this guy. He's not going to be happy about this."
Dustin, is this another one of those stories where the person who you're talking about will listen to the podcast and will be upset by this, and then will get angry with you?
No, not at all. So I say, okay, I've warned you. I then set up my bridal show booth, leave. About an hour later, I get a call from the place putting on the bridal show. Sir, we're going to need you to come back. You're going to have to take your photo booth down. I'm like, no, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yeah, you have a photo booth company that's setting up across from you, and they're real angry. And I said, do you not vividly remember this conversation I had with you? Probably 2 hours ago. And they say, yeah, we remember the conversation. You can tell the guy's right next to him when he's making this phone call. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't want to admit fault. And then he's like, so, you're not going to take the photo booth down? I said, no, I'm not going to take the photo booth down. The whole reason we're doing this show is to promote the booth and then to promote our associate brand. And that's a promotion that we're, bringing together today. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, can't you just have the photo booth guy move booths since he hasn't set up yet? And he said, no, sir, he gets this spot every year for the last 10 years. And I said, okay. So what do you want to do? I'm not coming back and moving my booth. I spent an hour and a half setting it up.
I got shit to do.
Right. I'm actually photographing an event right now. And he's like, well, would you mind if we move your booth for you?
Ooh.
And I'm like, I guess, but it's a lot of stuff. There's walls. It's a whole thing.
So that new salsa booth got broken? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
No, everything was fine. So we showed up the next day to the show, and in fact, they did move our booth to the other side of the bridal show. Nothing was too out of place, but I did talk to the photo booth guy, and explained to him the situation that like, hey man, I wanted to move from the get-go. I'm sorry if this caused you any stress. I didn't like set my photo booth up across from you just to be vindictive.
Why would you have reason to be vindictive? Did you guys have fights before? Have you guys thrown hands?
No, not at all.
Did you go to fisticuffs?
He's a very passionate individual when it comes to photo booths.
Mm-hmm.
He actually builds his own custom photo booths.
Oh.
And I have a great respect for like the craft in which he does. And like the salsa booth is just not the same type of thing as what he's doing.
So it seems like wouldn't be a big deal if the salsa booth was across from him. Kind of
what would be the
like
slap in the face was going to be when I put my sign up the next day that says to ask us about a free photo booth.
Free photo booth.
Because we were giving away a free photo booth if they booked at the bridal show.
Did anyone book at the bridal show?
No, nobody booked at the bridal show. Nobody ever books at the bridal show.
Isn't that the truth, though? Isn't that the truth?
The only thing I thought of after the fact to get people to book at the bridal show would be to like double my prices and then offer 50% off. Just something insane to get people.
Would that make you look like weird and desperate?
Like $2,000. That's the reason I've never done it. I don't think
people's brains work like that.
I don't know. People in the Midwest love a good bargain.
Yeah, when I see like a bargain that good, I think, oh, that's too good to be true. Then I go check the website, and the website's like, no, their actual price is the price they're saying is the sale price.
I'm just going to start living in that Kohl's lifestyle where everything's constantly marked down from an overinflated marked up price.
Just every single day on your website, it's like prices start at $10,000, and there's like a big line through the 10,000, and then like exactly. Your real price underneath.
Yep. And then there's a clock next to it as to when that sale goes away.
And then you have like a little chat bots that like pop up, and they're like, "Are you thinking about booking right now?"
Or like when you go to close out the site, the little chat box pops up. Are you sure you want to leave? The sale ends in 4 hours.
Oh gosh. Can you imagine the kind of clients you would get if you started doing stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I see those on other people's sites. Not necessarily photographers, but other, websites.
I'm okay with like a chatbot that pops up and is like, "Hey, do you have any questions?" That's fine. But like the chatbots that pop up and are like basically passive aggressively saying like you're going to be charged more if you don't book right now. Ugh, yuck.
Mm-hmm. Yep. My biggest regret of the bridal show would be, because we did do the salsa booth and I had the iPad in the salsa booth, I forgot to bring my other iPad for collecting.
Oh, I'm Dustin. I've got 2 iPads, brag.
You don't have like 5 iPads? You have children, Steven.
Brag. I'm Dustin. I have children.
I'm Dustin. I'm super fertile.
Wow.
Yes.
You just said that out loud. Ugh. Now everybody's thinking about your fertile stuff.
Some people have muscles. Some people have their fertility.
I'm really glad that it ended where I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was going to end with some people have muscles, some people have cum.
Nope. No, what we didn't bring was the second iPad, which is what I was planning on using for data collection on when potential brides came to the booth. And because we didn't have that, I printed off little slips to have people fill out their information. And because I wasn't at the booth personally, I'm the one going through all of these slips, and I have no idea if any of these are qualified leads or not, which is super disappointing. But I'm hoping that something comes from it. We're going to email them all tomorrow, and hopefully somebody books.
So that would normally bring us to our first topic of the real show, but probably should talk about beer talk first. Dustin, my man, what are you drinking tonight?
drinking a big old glass of H2O because I am been super sick the last 2 days, and I really don't want to throw up beer. Not really.
I feel like you're always sick when we record. It just seems like every time we get together to record, it's like you're sick,
I went from
your
a
kids are
sinus
sick.
infection to I had a stomach bug.
Because you're always
Probably
sick.
the coronavirus.
Oh.
The coronavirus.
Speaking of the coronavirus, tonight, Dustin, I have a Corona Extra with a
why I
lime.
segued that for
La
you.
Cerveza Más Fina. Dustin, I gotta say,
sounds pretty good.
the reason I have a Corona right now is because I was at the store and Jen said, can you buy Coronas as well so we can expose ourselves early and prepare for the pandemic? Which is, a nice little coronavirus joke about not having a vaccine yet, and Corona's the same thing. And I just responded, Coronas with CA for Coronas, like our commander in chief, because he doesn't get that stuff wrong. And Jen just wrote back, nope, it's called Corona, which made me think, oh wait, she wasn't joking, she actually wants me to buy Coronas. So I did. And then I got home Coronas? And she was like, I was just joking, why did you buy Coronas? So now I'm drinking a Corona.
I like Corona.
Jen's drinking a Corona in the other room too. It's all good. We like it, slice up a lime, throw a slice in the top. It's all good.
Lime in the coconut. I was shooting a commercial yesterday.
Yeah?
Steven, are you with me? I was shooting, if we want to do beer talk, I'll do my past drink talk. I was shooting a commercial yesterday.
Is this going to be about the brewery that offered you beer?
No.
Because you shared that last week on the podcast.
No, I shoot multiple commercials, Steven. I was shooting a commercial yesterday, and the guy we were interviewing for the spot, we were shooting it at his house, and he was telling us about this concoction he'd come up called a bourbon Bloody Mary.
Oh, I'm not actually that interested.
And we're like, oh, yeah, sounds cool. And he's like, no, really, let me go make you a quick shooter of it so you guys can, tell me how amazing this is. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
And you're super sick at this point in time, so how'd that go down?
Oh, no, my sickness didn't come until that evening. And so
the sickness eclipse had started, but you weren't at full eclipse yet?
Exactly.
You put a little coronavirus in it.
And so I'm thinking he's going to make this little shooter, and Luke was with me, and the owner of the company we're shooting for. So he comes out with 3 giant Bloody Marys, and it had Yellowstone. He used Yellowstone bourbon, and I was like, in honor of Steven, I can't not take this.
I love Yellowstone. I would drink me some Yellowstone right now. I have Yellowstone right behind me in my little movable bar thing. Should I get some Yellowstone and drink it right now?
In memory?
In memory of how good
Mary
Yellowstone is? So this guy thinks he made up the bourbon Bloody Mary?
Yep, he does.
Because, I've been to Journeyman, and they make Bloody Marys with whiskey there, so feel like it's something that's been around for a while. But also Bloody Marys are disgusting. I want to go on record. But Bloody Mary is a disgusting drink. And it's also a very scary thing to say into your restroom mirror when all the lights are off at midnight. It's like Candyman, but for the Midwest. It's Bloody Mary.
So it was bourbon. He had a spicy pepper, some sort of spicy pepper sauce. And then it was bacon flakes, bacon something.
This is all sounding like a good thing for a Bloody Mary. Bloody Marys are still disgusting.
That was it.
Wait, there's no tomatoes? No tomato juice?
Nope.
No.
He uses the 3 pepper sauce instead of tomatoes.
How'd that go down for you? Because you hate spicy.
I didn't like the spicy, no. No, didn't like that one bit. Liked the bourbon, didn't like the spicy. Could have just done with tomato and bourbon, and I think that might be kind of good.
Oh, that sounds disgusting. Actually, maybe I could get on board with the Bloody Mary if it's like a pepper sauce instead of tomatoes. That sounds good to me. Dustin, let's get to the show, though. You were talking about leads and how to qualify leads from bridal show. Tell us more about how you would do that.
Well, first of all, ideally what I would have liked to have done is entered the information on an iPad into some sort of an Excel document.
We get it. You own multiple iPads.
Or a Surface, or a phone, whatever you got to do, man.
Okay, Mr. Moneybags.
And then once you get that information, if you can like flag it and use some sort of identifier so you know like, oh, this person was on a date, I was available, or this person doesn't already have a photographer, and they're not just trying to win whatever giveaway item I'm giving away. But we didn't do any of that, so instead I'm stuck with 100 lead forms, if you will, that have no way for me to tell if it's a good lead or a bad lead. And even if you did like the paper form like we did, if you can just put like a little star or some sort of, marking on the paper as they hand it to you, like a little magician where you've got some, thumb stamp or ink pad, you can just like knock it with your thumb.
So it's
awkward when you shake someone's hand and then you leave ink all over their hand. But other than that, it's a great, flawless, magician-like thing.
I mean, we call that octopussing in the biz, but I mean, if you don't like it, like an octopus, you shoot out ink when you're fleeing the predator, which is apparently your client. Actually, that'd work a lot better if you were the person coming up to the booth. Now, you get a very pushy person like Dustin trying to push you on their new salsa photo booth from Photo Booth Supply Company, and you don't want it because you want to use the made-from-scratch photo booth guy who's across the way from you, who's going to make you your own one-time use photo booth. How is he still in business? Still in business? One-time use photo booth, custom made.
Not one-time use. He just custom makes
one-time use photo booth. Custom made, and you throw a bunch of ink in Dustin's face and run away. Oh man, that's good. That's rich. I would like that.
The one thing you could have done is you could have put two separate boxes for the forms. So like the one box is for a qualified, one is for not. But some people might have been like, "Wait, why are you putting these in two separate boxes?" Is that like gerrymandering?
I would just like them to write on it real quick while the prospective client is still looking like, yeah, this is a good one, Dustin. Or, no, don't call this one, Dustin.
Exactly. That's all I really wanted.
You know what I think is really going on here is I just think your associates, maybe they don't know what it is you're looking for in a good lead, which is why I wanted to get in on this with you, really kind of suss that out. Like, what makes a good lead? Are you looking for money? Are you looking for designer purses, designer shoes, designer handbags? Are you looking for people living that life of luxury? How many Rolexes do they own? Do they walk up with one pair of Ray-Bans covering their eyes or push up over their hair? Or do they have 5 pairs of Ray-Bans just covering their whole face? Like, how are we looking at this?
It has nothing to do with appearance or how they talk or act, because I've done plenty of weddings where I've thought, oh, that person probably can't afford us. But if someone truly values photography, they'll make it work some way, somehow. So I go
when
just
they walk up to the booth, are they wearing like one
set
set of shoes that's like they're walking around the conference floor shoes, and then when they step into the booth, they take those shoes off and they put on their special booth shoes? Is that like the kind of client you're looking for?
I'm always looking for someone with booth shoes.
Yeah, because actually, like now that I say that sounds super cool, and I'm gonna need to get a pair of booth shoes before I go to another event.
And they're like, hold on, let me put on my booth gloves.
Oh man! Oh, let me take off my walking around gloves. Let me put on my booth gloves. Let's get into this.
Hold on. These are my walking around glasses. Let me put on my talk to you glasses. There we go. Now you can see me seeing you.
And then like halfway through, when they get annoyed, instead of politely inking you, they just put in their not talking to you earplugs, and then they just kind of zone out. They put their not talking to you earplugs in, they slide their not talking to you sunglasses over their eyes, and now they're gone. And they just slowly start taking the booth shoes off.
As they back away from you slowly.
Maybe you just, the booth shoes, they don't even have to be super expensive. They're cheap enough. You could just leave them in the booth if you really have to. You have a whole backpack full of other booth shoes.
You're like, hey, miss, you're leaving your shoes. And they're just like, I can't hear you. They're pointing at their ears, pointing at their eyes. I can't see you. They're just slowly backing out. They're like slippers. I will say one thing that people at bridal shows, because I was kind of wanting to play the part of like walking around and networking with the vendors while my team was kind of doing the booth. And people don't acknowledge or talk with guys at these shows. It was really interesting. Like I'm like walking down the rows and like women.
So like you walked up to a bunch of other like photographers' booths, and like at these photographers' booths, they didn't want to talk to the guy wearing a shirt that literally said Dustin and Corinne Wedding Photography.
I didn't wear this shirt.
I've only ever seen you wear shirts that have your brand name on them.
I just like to wear it when I'm with you because I know it makes you feel inferior.
Nope, that's not what it makes me feel. Let's play a game called Opposites. It makes me feel the opposite of inferior.
Superior?
That's it. You got it. Oh, man.
Steven.
You did surprisingly well at the game of Opposites. I'm so surprised.
That's because you only see me when I'm working. If you'd ever want to hang out in a scenario in life where we're not working, and because I'm always working, this is all I own.
Wow. This is how I dress on like a normal day, just like a nice button-down dress shirt, rolled up at the sleeves, because I'm a hard worker and just getting it done in the house.
It's because you work at home, Steve.
Yeah. And somehow I'm still dressed nicer than you.
Doing the laundry. It's because you're still living on that dream that someone's going to call and you're going to have to actually get to leave the house. But until that becomes a thing, you just stay in that polo.
Polo? Ugh, yuck. Yuck.
Whatever you call that thing you're wearing.
This is a dress shirt. Oh my God. A polo? Do I look like a junior high golf student?
They're saying the polos are coming back for dads.
Oh, gosh, I don't want to live in that world.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Sorry, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, Dustin. So what makes a good qualified lead in your opinion? We got real sidetracked there with booth shoes. Greatest invention I've ever come up with.
Somebody that's getting married and already has a venue that I know, isn't something that's like, made up. Somebody who has a date that we are in fact available, or a date in general. I don't like to mess around with people who don't have a date yet, unless they're come across at the shows like super interested in us, in which case I'll try to like help them pick the date.
So what you wanted was your associates to be able to tell if these people were horny for you or not. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think maybe it's difficult for them because like you weren't there and they just had that giant photo of your face behind them and they couldn't really tell if people were creeped out or horny for it?
I don't know if you know this, Steve, but they were actually there representing our new brand, our Mennonite brand, as you like to refer to it as, but Union Chapel Photo.
The worst name ever. It's not too late to change the name.
Where we can have more than one person getting married at the same time.
I'm sorry, is this...
I had a lot of compliments
polyamorous?
On that name. A lot of compliments on that name at the show, actually.
Really? From who?
Because you got in my head that people weren't going to like the name. And so I was actually talking to other vendors, and they're like, oh, I actually really liked that name. And I was like wondering where you guys came from. Because the thing about bridal shows in Fort Wayne, because it's such a large city, is we pull in a lot of vendors from like the smaller markets around us.
Which all have a Union Chapel Road as well?
No, it's just you never know if a vendor is actually local or not.
And they all have a Union Chapel as well, too?
No, we're the only Union Chapel in the whole world.
Okay, got it.
In the whole world, except for Union Chapel, North Carolina.
Okay, Dustin.
Okay, Steven.
So now we know what you're looking for in a lead. We got that figured out.
What are you looking for in a lead, Steven?
Someone who's horny for it.
Mm.
For my work, of course. Yeah.
What else would they be horny for?
It?
So your booth shoes.
Probably. That is $1 million idea.
Oh, I want to next bridal show. I'm going to pay you to come to it and do that.
Oh man, that'll be a good bridal show. I can't wait for it. Yeah, no, I'm just looking for people who seem interested, man. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta see if you vibe, and if you don't vibe, it's like, really, what's the point? Like, maybe like at the end of your little talk in the booth, like, do they go in for a handshake or do they go in for a hug? If they go in for a hug, is it like a let's touch cheeks hug? Like, are we that close already after our 5-minute talk? Or is it like A-frame, 2 pats, I'm out?
Or was it like they were reaching to grab a postcard off your table and you
mistook it for a hug?
Arm is like oh, thank you for coming into my booth. This was so good. We had such a
that does make sense because every time Jen and I have done a booth, I have stood right in front of the postcards, but I do go in for every hug and just stare them straight in the eyes and say, do you consent to this? Do you consent to this? Do you consent to this?
Oh, I also tell them when they fill out these little cards, these are actually miniature contracts. On the back of these little cards for the giveaway is a full-on, legalese about how they just booked us for their wedding.
Oh gosh, Dustin, this is why you never book anybody from these events.
Are you kidding me? I booked 100 brides at this event.
But
no deposits. That's the only problem.
Dustin, I wanna talk to you about something.
I want to hear it.
Over the last month, we've gotten a surprising amount of...
Oh, we're going there.
Yeah, we're going there, bud. We're going there.
We're going to the dark zone.
We got a surprising amount of emails on our website from email accounts that may or may not exist. I'm not 100% certain.
I checked them all.
So
they
now
do not exist.
So now that now that imaging is over, I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about this first one we got. I mean, now that WPPI is over.
Yeah, I was gonna say now that nobody from imaging will listen to our podcast.
Oh, so the very first one we got comes from somebody who calls himself Hookup Help. And they say, hey, Steve and Dustin, I was at imaging, but I didn't see you guys. Love the podcast. It brings a lot of laughter to my life. And if you're gonna write us, starting with flattery is always the best way to go. Now, this next part, though, the reason I'm writing is because I need help. And that's a great place to be, too, because we want to help. It's hard to admit this, even to myself, but I fucked up big time. I got a little bit drunk at imaging at that sports bar place, Fuse. I got to talking to a guy at the bar, and the next thing I knew, I woke up in his room the next morning without any clothes on. I'm married. I'm not planning to tell my husband. That's not what I need help with. What I need help with is I'm going to WPPI, and the guy is going to be there. He already slid into my DMs and has sent me some risque pictures. He said he wants to spend more time with me there. I can't hook up again. I want to, though. How do I put an end to this when I want it so bad? Feel free to say shitty stuff. I wouldn't have written in if I couldn't handle it, though I'll probably cringe the entire time you're talking about it. This isn't in the Q&A because I don't feel like this is real, but...
Well, hookuphelp@aol.com. I wrote back to that email address. And do you want to know who writes at hookuphelp@aol.com?
Who?
It is a disconnected email address. Because I tried to send you an email.
Oh, man.
Who still uses AOL? At least say Yahoo.
So we got a bunch of emails, all from weird email things like this. We're not going to read them all. That one was funny though, because it did feel like maybe they met us at Imaging, whoever this person was.
Well, yeah, because we ate at that sports bar. That's why when I read this, I felt like someone was stalking us.
It was like one of 3 restaurants at the place, Dustin.
But it's the only one of 3 that we ate at, Steven. And you definitely turned to a guy and asked him what he was doing there.
Whoa, are you fucking people here? That's what I said to him. And he was like, yes, I am fucking people here. People other than my husband. And I was like, wow, that is weird to admit. And he's like, I know, I shouldn't be doing it. I don't want to be doing it, but I am. It's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Big time. That was our conversation at the bar.
And then he felt the need to write us about it.
The weird thing is, that guy was there for that sales event. He wasn't even there for Imaging.
I know. And he loved it so much, he's going to WPPI.
Big time fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anywho. So, let's pretend this is a real world scenario.
Yeah, let's pretend it's a real world scenario. Come on, hit me up, baby.
I don't condone infidelity, so I would say that you would have to go to a different conference instead of WPPI.
But they're already going to WPPI. So what do they do?
Then you might as well share a room.
What do they do to make this person
on cost?
What do they do to make this person not interested anymore?
Okay, I like where you're going with this. You start sending them risque photos of the outlandish things you're into, like maybe you with an alligator, or you with perhaps like a caveman type outfit, but not sexy, more like monstrous, where like the bone is through your nose.
Maybe it's you with an alligator and you're in clown makeup and the alligator's also in clown makeup. And also no clothes. And also your genital area, your erogenous zone, also in clown makeup. And just be like, look, this is full me. And then maybe like underneath it, if they still want to talk, then you're just like, hey, also, I would love to have a conversation with you about eugenics. And I guarantee that's going to end it right there. Because either they'll be like, I'm out, you're a terrible human being, or they'll be like, I'm in, and then you'll be like, oh, I'm out, you're a terrible human being. You know?
What if they were like, actually, I was meaning to talk to you about eugenics?
Yeah, then you're out. They're a terrible human being.
And what if you say, hey, while we're in Vegas, I thought we could hit up a Scientology conference that's happening in the area.
I believe that's called the Church of Phototology.
Church of Phototology.
Yeah, come on, Dustin, get with it. Oh, Dustin, do you want to do some real Q&A?
Oh, I thought that was as real as it could get, Stephen. But by all means, let's Q&A it.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve...
Tara from a random Facebook group writes in and says, if an agent has you shoot a house and you edit it, etc., and later they send it off to an editing service without your knowledge for a Twilight conversion, is that illegal and copyright infringement? And if this happened to me, what should I do?
It's interesting.
So I just want to go through this real quick. And if this happened to me, what should I do? Tara, this happened to you, didn't it? Why are you playing so coy? Why are you all up in here like, ooh, is this thing illegal? Also, if it happened to me, what should I do? Like, just say, this happened to me, what should I do? Like, why are you like prancing all around this? Just come right out with it. Come on, Tara.
Tara, as someone who shoots a tremendous amount of real estate photography, I can tell you firsthand that realtors are the least informed individuals when it comes to how photography is treated in terms of copyright and how that is represented with your work. Now, that burden falls on you to inform them by having each agent you work with sign some sort of a, contract, work for hire, and then in there laying out who owns copyright and what the extent of that is and looks like. But just simply having a conversation with each agent before you begin work with them on like, hey, I'm going to be providing you these photos. If you want any changes, modifications, edits, let me know, because I'd prefer my work not be modified. But yeah, that is something that a lot of these, as more and more of these real estate editing companies are popping up, to try and put real estate photographers out of business by having realtors shoot their own photos. You're going to see more and more of this. And unfortunately, without completely trying to like burn your bridge with your realtor, because it's not like you're going to be able to offer the same service at the same price as like what they're going to get it for from, this other company.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the real one. Do you want to spin us a funny, Steve?
No, I don't think I can spin a funny. I think you just spun all the funny right out of me. I got so bored, I glazed over for a few seconds there, and I'm
You did start to look like a donut, and I was getting tasty because I'm back on my like no carb diet, and I was like, God, he looks like a Krispy Kreme.
Well, that is just because I can split my body and cause a hole to be where my stomach should be, and kind of like Captain Mr. Fantastic Four.
Speaking of donuts,
Wonderful.
Listener,
damn it. Who's the stretchy guy? I do the stretchy. I'm Stretch Armstronging into a donut shape over here. Damn it. I missed it. I messed up. I couldn't remember who was the head of the Fantastic Four.
Yep, I know. Mr. Fantastic.
F my life. Sally Psycho from our very own Facebook group asks, so yesterday I shot a wedding at an art museum. I've been there before on multiple occasions, and it's huge. The normal lighting is spotlighted in on the art, on the white walls, and on the sculptures in the white halls. She just said halls. I just really wanted double whites in there. It looks pretty cool in the daytime with a ton of natural light filtered in through floor to ceiling windows covered in white, nearly translucent curtains. This sounds beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous in the daytime. But my wedding was at night, which changes things a bit. Since this cavernous venue is dimly lit for evening weddings, I've always used a flash for all the shots. Just safer and easier than shooting at a high ISO. Anyway, I've had a suspicion that I might be able to pull off a different look for the indoor couples portraits than what I normally deliver if I shut the flash off and use the venue lighting to my advantage. So I gave it a go and tried it. I was chimping while shooting that series and thought that I had fucked up when reviewing the pics on the LCD. LOL. I like that. Like two acronyms right in a row, LCD, LOL. Beautiful. The pics looked flat and unattractive. Big yikes. I was so worried that I'd screwed up my client's couple's portrait time that I ended up pulling them aside later that evening to do a few more shots with flash just to make sure I had something great to deliver. Thank goodness they were cool with it. This morning I'm going through the photos to see how everything turned out and can't believe what I'm seeing. OMG. Somehow I actually pulled off a few of those no flash shots at 1/15th handheld. 1/15th of a second shutter speed handheld.
Start calling you Steady Sally.
At 4.0 ISO 2500 on the 70 to 200.
Wow.
On the 70 to 2. Can I repeat? 1/15th of the shutter speed on a 70 to 200. Holy sh! That turned out pretty great. The Canon gods are smiling on me. Yay. Any of you ever try something outside of your comfort zone, thinking that maybe you messed up, only to be surprised with good stuff instead? Well, Sally, I would just like to go ahead and say, when Dustin asked me to do this podcast, I agreed to it. and I listened to our first few episodes, and I was pretty certain it was a huge mistake. But we're still here.
Still going.
Is it a mistake? Is it a mistake?
We won't know till episode 1000.
1,000 episodes, Dustin, no.
Yes, Steven, yes.
Dustin, have you ever thought you screwed something up and then later you're like, actually, that's kind of dope as hell?
No, typically if I think I screwed something up, I screwed something up.
I was shooting a wedding once with Jen, and the bride was dancing during the reception, and I accidentally had turned my trigger off on my flash for the off camera flashes, you know. It's the trigger off on my camera, not on my flash. But I accidentally turned my trigger off when I was shooting something that was like in a brightly lit tungsten area where I didn't need flash and was like away from the dance floor. Came back, the bride's dancing, and without thinking, I just lifted my camera and shot without the flash on. Looked at the photo and was like, oh crap, messed that one up. And then when I was actually like going through and culling the wedding, I saw that photo and I was like, oh, actually that's really dope. Like the bride is lit by like the blue DJ light, and she just looked like super cool, like surrounded by blackness, and she's just like this like blue silhouette kind of sort of thing. So it was dope as hell. But
because every bride wants to look like a blue silhouette.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. I enjoyed it. I don't care if she enjoyed it. It's art, and it's my art, and I love this art.
Stephen Van Elk, I shoot your wedding for me. This is not for you.
How many arts do you do that is like, this was a mistake, but it's art now? I arted that.
I don't know if that's how art works.
Yeah, that is how art works. You make a mistake, and then you just write, this is art, and then people are like, oh my gosh, it's speaking so much to me. Yeah, that's how I do things.
That's how I spin my videos, but photo, I tend to be a little bit more purposeful.
I know that's how you spin your videos. Oh my gosh. Oh.
But it works.
But and you know what maybe the best part of that whole thing was? Sally said the Canon gods are smiling on me. Oh, isn't it a heartwarming story to hear about a Canon user who's being smiled upon by their gods?
I think it was just a Canon lens, but she was still shooting on a Sony body.
Oh, Sally shoots with a Canon, bro. Oh, man.
Sony memory card? And
the memory card saved me. Praise be to Lexar and SanDisk.
Has that built-in image stabilization.
Let's all pray to Translucent in Kingston today.
Can we do that, Steve? Can we start a memory card company with built-in image stabilization?
We can start a memory card church. I don't know about a memory card image stabilization. That doesn't sound like something that'll work.
No. We're just buying SanDisk cards. We're putting a new sticker on them.
It says stabilization. That's the name of the company.
Stabilized cards.
Stable cards.
Stable
Rebecca Lozer from our very own Facebook group, and also from The Secret Life of Weddings, one of my favorite podcasts, writes in to say, anyone else sketch out an image prior to the wedding and create it on the wedding day?
Rebecca, I'm a photographer. I take photos for a living, and I failed drawing in college. So I think that answers that.
That's it's a legitimate thing because like my background's more video than it is photos, where like you storyboard and like draw stuff out for how you want it to look when you actually shoot the video to get a better idea of what shots you need to get and everything. And I am terrible at drawing, so I've never, ever done that. I've never been a good storyboarder, but like Jen sometimes will be like, this is what I'm thinking of. And she'll like make a full Photoshop, like mock-up of like something she's thinking of for like a creative idea that she has for a photograph or something. And it blows my mind every time she does it. Cause I just don't think that way. Like my mind is like, I just show up and I try to make something happen with the environment I'm in. But I feel like maybe we should get into sketching. I would like to bring you to my house, sketch some nudes of you, Dustin, and for
I thought
how
you
I
were
want
talking to
grooms
Rebecca
to
now.
pose. No, I'm talking to you, Dustin. I'm right here. You're on the other line with me, Dustin McKibben.
Mm-hmm.
Sketch some quick nudes of Dusty, and then
tasteful,
and then I'll bring those to weddings with me, and I'll show them to the groom and be like, "This is how I was thinking of posing you."
Rebecca, I used to go into weddings with a lot of preconceived ideas in my mind because that's how I was trained as a advertising photographer, and is to always come in with like a bunch of ideas before a shoot. And then I quickly realized that either I would not have time or the ability, or just in general, the ideas wouldn't work out in the real world. And so now I actually find the joy in what I do by doing the absolute opposite, without going in with no ideas, absolutely no preconceived notions of where I'm going to shoot, how I'm going to shoot, what I'm going to shoot. Just that I have a bride and groom and it's their wedding day. And I tend to come out a lot more fulfilled and a lot more happy by just trying to pull, polish a poop, as it may be called, and making the best of it.
Every once in a while, Jen and I will go in. Usually it's Jen who has like a very defined idea of what she wants, because it's like a venue we've shot at before, and she's like, I want to see if we can pull off this shot this time. And the hard part with that is if it's Jen who has the defined idea and she's trying to describe to me what she wants, I can never I just feel like I can never quite picture what it is she's picturing. And so I can capture something that I will find interesting and unique, but it won't fit what was in her head, So I feel like I'm constantly a failure in that regard. But
sure,
if it's something I had in mind, I loved the windows in this room, I'd like to pull the groom in there for his getting ready shots or something, because I think we'd get some cool lighting or whatever, then I feel like I can pull something off and I can execute on that. But I feel like Jen and I both think very creatively, but we have very different thought patterns, and I hope that's why we work well together. Maybe it's maybe that's what causes all the stress when we work together. I don't know.
Right, because she was like, I'm being creative and funny by saying you should get Coronas. And Steven's like, wow, that is creative and funny. I will get Coronas. And then you're like, oh, shit, she's joking.
Yeah, but I'm still drinking Coronas, and so is she. So I feel like that worked out in the end.
Win-win. But did you get lime? Did you get lime, though?
I already told you I got lime. I cut the lime up myself, and I put it in the Coronas.
But did you put it in the
Thanks for listening
first?
To another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. If you love the show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you want to connect, we're at Wedding Photo Hangover on Instagram. Dustin, my man, is at Dustin_McKibben. And I'm at Stephen Van Elk. We have an awesome Facebook group that you should definitely join if you listen to the podcast. Just search for Wedding Hangover on Facebook. If you want more content, head over to the Patreon by going to patreon.com/WPH. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time your head is pounding, your limbs feel like dead weight, and your entire being aches for the sweet embrace of death. That's right, next week after you shoot another wedding. I'm impressed by Rebecca Lozer for having the ability to sketch stuff out and actually make it happen.
Sure.
I wish I was better at drawing. So what things from your grade school, elementary school, middle school, junior high, high school do you wish you ended up being better at when you got older? Because art, drawing, sketching, painting, all that, something I definitely wish I would have pursued, but my parents convinced me that band was really cool, and if I took band, I didn't have the slot in my schedule to take art. So instead, I got to play that sweet alto saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, diddling those
keys.
You know how it is.
I was really great at everything in growing up.
Bullshit.
So
Bullshit.
I I didn't. I wasn't good at band, so, but I like knew my strengths and weaknesses.
I want to be clear about that. I wasn't good at band. I was very, very bad at band. In fact, like one of the big reasons why I was not in like the top 10 in my grade or whatever is because I scored so low in band because I couldn't tell if my instrument was in tune or out of tune. So I always sounded terrible.
I am so musically declined. I don't know if that's the right word. That
I'm musically
like in high
de-gifted.
School, they have band, and then they have choir, and then they have this other thing called music arts, which is like for the people like me who cannot sing or play an instrument, and instead you studied music. So
dude, that sounds dope. Is that like a class where like you just go in and you're like, hey, I'm actually, I'm going to listen to The Strokes, Weezer's Blue album in Pinkerton.
Mm-hmm.
Also going to listen to some Phantom Planet, maybe some Thrills today. I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to get into like some Foo Fighters, maybe some Red Hot Chili Peppers. Who knows where all this is going, but like I'm listening. I got my headphones on. I'll be in the back of the class. Is that what that class was like?
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. Because it was just the people who didn't play an instrument and couldn't sing.
That's nice. I love it. Sounds like a great class. Sounds like art history in college.
And the best part of it is you didn't have to show up to any like those lame after school concerts. There were none of those requirements.
Dude, those were the worst.
Actually, you did have to show up to one of those and write a critique.
Oh, man.
So
ouch.
I showed up and I was like, they did really bad at this portion of this spot.
There's a lot of singing. They're missing out on the pizzazz, though. I wanted to see more jazz fingers, maybe some bigger smiles.
I really thought the gold outfits contrasted poorly with the red shoes.
But what would I know? I'm just an artist.
Yes, I'm just in music arts.
Oh man, no, that's good. That's good.
But no, there's nothing that I really felt like in high school or below that I didn't take seriously enough. Now in college, I don't feel like I took things seriously enough. But that's because as somebody who grew up in a very conservative household and you get sort of that first taste of freedom since I went to school out of state. You're like, college,
sweet taste of freedom. Oh,
I know it's like $40,000 a year, but I'm sure I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah, wow. You should have gone to a state school, buddy.
I know. I had a full ride to Ball State, and I turned it down to go to school out of state.
If you'd gone to Ball State, we could have met so much earlier in life.
I'm pretty sure you graduated the year I would have started college.
Yeah, that's probably
That's
true.
right, listeners. Steven is an old man.
Hey, you're my little brother's age. Wow.
Yes.
If you'd gone to Ball State, we could have met because I married someone who lived in Muncie. So I was back in Muncie all the time. I hung out with all my old friends who went to Ball State. Think about it, Dustin.
Yeah, you're right. Ball State's
we
such a
started
small
this
school.
podcast
I'm sure we would have met
so much sooner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Two great minds in the visual arts. Yeah, we would have definitely met.
If I had gone to Ball State, I have no idea if I would have stuck in photography.
It's okay. I'm sure Best Buy had a lot of openings if you dropped out of photography. So
I probably would have switched to something in computers and probably been making way more money now and hating my life.
Wow. You mean I could still go back and switch to computers and hate my life and make more money? And definitely the last one, too, I wanted.
That was definitely the reason my dad wanted me to go to Ball State, was because he's like, well, there's definitely no way you're going to stick with an art program because you're not an artist.
That's great.
And then my mom threw him a
Here you
curveball,
are,
and he's like, what about this school with photographic engineering?
Yeah. All right, I think we should probably call it quits now, D-Mac.
DMAC, but yeah, that was true. I did fail drawing in college. That was a true thing. Caused me to lose my opportunity to become an RA.
Ouch, bud. Sorry.
The teacher I don't know, she was weird. I told her up front, I'm like, I'm a photography student. I cannot draw to save my life. She's like, yeah, but I'm sure we can teach you. I'm like, by all means, teach me. And I just didn't understand drawing. They constantly just want you to try as if like you're going to just naturally get better.
Practice does make perfect, so.
Apparently not with me.
Yeah.
Not with drawing. Not with, what were we using? Charcoal. Who likes to get dirty? Ugh.
Bye. I can't do any more of this. Bye.
It's like you're sitting there staring at a nude person and they want you to draw them with charcoal.
Bye.
Just
good.
I understand where
night.
they expect you to focus on that, Steve.
Good night, Dustin. Good night.
Good morning. Good morning, Steven. Good morning. I'm Dustin. I'm super fertile.
Brag. Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs. Woo-wee.